Krakoa is the mutant promised land, but whether it thrives or dies will all be up to the next generation of Homo Superior. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of New Mutants issue number 1 and find out for ourselves, shall we? Alrighty then, so the comic opens up with the resurrection of Rain Sinclair, aka Wolfsbane, who you may or may not remember actually met a rather brutal end at the hand of a bunch of human supremacists. Now she's back though, and hey, would you look at that, she looks a lot like Maisie Williams, the actress who was supposed to play Wolfsbane in that New Mutants movie that's never coming out ever. Understandably, it's a lot to take in for Wolfsbane, dying at one of the worst times for mutant kind and then literally waking up in one of the best times. This is basically waking up in heaven as far as she's concerned. Ah, and wouldn't you know that I remember that Wolfsbane's supposed to be Scottish? Though admittedly, they don't lay it on nearly as thick as they sometimes do with this character. Now from there we transition on over to Cypher and Mondo. Cypher still rocking a truly awesome looking robot arm that looks like it could belong to Warlock, or maybe it's just part of his costume, we don't know, they haven't explained it yet. Doug asked Mondo if he could use his rather unique power of absorbing organic matter to better help him interface with the living island that is Krakoa. It works, but maybe a little too well. Indeed, the island is pretty much able to take over Mondo's body and speak through him, but it's all incredibly creepy and uncomfortable for everyone involved. But hey, let's just put this Chekhov's gun back on the shelf for a second. I'm sure this won't be important later on in the future. Now, keeping up with the New Mutants reunion tour, we next decide to look on into what Sunspot and Danny Moonstar are doing. You'll remember these two characters as probably the only New Mutants who had long, fruitful careers outside just this one team. Moonstar was a Valkyrie for a little bit, and Robert DaCosta, geez, he owned AIM, ran 2 different incarnations of the Avengers. Actually, come to think of it, Robert DaCosta really started to grow his profile in the pages of Avengers World, which was itself written by Jonathan Hickman at one point. Clearly he's got a soft spot for Sunspot. Now, as you might have put together by now, all these different Dawn of X-Men titles deal with a different facet of mutant society, whether it be trade, security, magic. New X-Men, though, really seems to be more interested in the home front. Well, at first at least. We see Chamber and Magik are hard at work trying to create coffee beans to grow on the island because, well, Krakoa doesn't have those. Which, you know, is actually kind of something interesting to think about. Pretty much everyone that lives on Krakoa eats what Krakoa provides for them, and there's a lot of comforts that the island just doesn't offer. But that also means they're all pretty much entirely dependent on the island for sustenance, and they have no idea what exactly they're putting into their bodies. Wonder if that'll be important. Now, with the New Mutants team reunited, they decide, hey, you know, we've been given a second chance at life, we're young, we're proud, and we're free. Hey, why don't we go into space and have an adventure, gang? And that's something they can absolutely 100% do because Crosshair, the father of Cyclops and renowned space pirate, goes back and forth between space and Krakoa all the time. The kids all want to go to Shi'Ar space because, well, the X-Men have a long and storied history with the Shi'Ar, and especially the New Mutants, including Cannonball, who last time I checked, didn't he marry a Shi'Ar woman? The trip is long and fraught with danger, so to pass the time, obviously the pirates and the mutants decide to gamble on sword fights between Magik and Raza. Magik written much more like a hothead here than she has been in a very long time. I like it, it's a good look for her. Now, when our heroes finally do make it to the Shi'Ar space station known as the Benevolence, Crosshair says that the kids can't come aboard because, well, a radical religious sect has taken over the station now. They kill and imprison anyone for even the smallest infractions, and, well, you know, the kids could be in great danger if they went. Now, obviously, telling kids to do anything naturally means they're going to do the opposite, and as soon as Crosshair and his crew leave, they decide to use one of Magik's portals to hop right on in. To their not very much surprise, Crosshair was full of crap, and there's actually no one on the space station, religious fanatics or other. What they do find, though, is an egg, a king egg, in fact. A super dangerous alien egg that Crosshair and his crew had come to the Benevolence to try and steal, as it would fetch a hefty profit. Of course, the New Mutants have now royally screwed up that plan, and Shi'Ar forces are on their way to try and shoot everyone they can. Now you're thinking to yourself, oh, how are they going to get themselves out of this one? Well, shockingly, Crosshair says, you know what, kids, you ruined this for me, you wanted a space adventure, well, you can get out of this space adventure on your own, I'm leaving you all behind. And it's on that note right there the comic comes to a close, everybody, and so that was New Mutants issue number 1, and I gotta admit I wasn't exactly sure what to expect going into this book. I make no secret of the fact fact that I don't have all the same love and nostalgia for the New Mutants as a team and an entity as other people seem to, and I know in certain X-Men circles that's tantamount to sacrilege, but there, I said it. In fact, probably the only reason I bothered picking this one up to begin with is because it was co-written by Jonathan Hickman, the architect of this new Dawn of X era of X-Men books. Truth be told, while reading it, I felt more of Ed Bresson's voice than anything else. Also, despite all the big, world-shattering, redefining things going on in the other X-Men books, this one, for better or worse, is kind of a slice of life, kind of lower-impact X-Men going on adventures. I mentioned Avengers World earlier on in the video, and I think that's a pretty apt comparison. New Mutants is to the brand new X-Men franchise of books what Avengers World was to Hickman's Avengers. That being that you probably don't need to read this to understand what's going on in the bigger story, but if you like these characters and like the general feel of this book, then you're probably not going to get it anywhere else. Overall, I didn't hate it, but it's certainly not my favorite of all these brand new X-Men books. I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. If you're looking for something that's a bit more of an easy, breezier read that doesn't feel so nearly apocalyptic as everything else, then yeah, check this one out.
Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow, and help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye bye.